In this video, we're learning how to find the mean, median, mode, and range. And we're given a set of numbers, and we're going to find the mean, the median, the mode, and the range, and we have some notes for how to find each of those. So let's jump into example 1, which is finding the mean of this set of numbers. So it says that the mean, which is the same as the average, which you may have heard before, is equal to the sum of the numbers divided by the number of terms. So what we want to do first is find the sum of the numbers. So I'm just going to write that this is equal to the sum of the numbers. We're going to do 10 plus 5 plus 20 plus 10 plus 15 plus 45 plus 35. And now we have to divide this by the number of terms. So if we count up how many original terms or numbers we have, we should get 7. And now if we actually add up the numbers on the top, which I'm just going to do with the calculator to save time, we will get 140. So we have 140 over 7. Remember, fraction bar means division, so we're really dividing 140 by 7. And 140 divided by 7 is 20. So we get that the mean, or the average, of our numbers is 20. Moving on to number 2, we are finding the median of the set of data. And the median is the middle number when the terms are arranged from least to greatest. So what we want to do first is arrange our numbers from least to greatest. So our smallest is 5. And then we have 10, which shows up twice. We have 115. We have a 20. We have a 35. And we have a 45. And I always just like to make sure that I have the correct number of terms written down. So I have 7 terms, and we started with 7 terms, which means I probably didn't miss any. So that's just a good thing to check so you don't miss writing down any of the numbers. And now the median is just the middle number. So 15 is the middle number. There's 3 to the left of it and 3 to the right of it. So our median is 15. Moving on to the mode, it says the mode is the term or terms that appear the most. So sometimes we won't have any mode, and that's if all the terms only appear once. Sometimes we have only one mode, and that's if we have one term that shows up more than any other terms. And sometimes we have multiple modes if 2 or 3 numbers show up the same number of times. So if we look at our data set, we should be able to tell that 10 shows up twice, which is more than any other number. So the mode of our data is 10. And finally, looking at number 4, we're finding the range, which is equal to the highest term minus the lowest term. So our highest term is 45. That's the greatest number in our list. Our lowest term is 5. That's the smallest number in our list. If we subtract 45 minus 5, we get 40. So we get a range of 40. Let's go through one more data set just to make sure we've really got this down. So for these last 4 examples, I encourage you guys to pause the video and try them on your own, and then you can watch me work through them to make sure that you've done them correctly. So example 5, we're finding the mean of this data set. So again, we want to find the sum and divide it by the number of terms. So the sum is just going to be all the numbers added together. So we're just going to write all of our numbers that were given added together. So plus 9, plus 5, plus 5, plus 7, plus 12. And if we count up how many terms we have this time, we have 10 terms. So we're going to divide that by 10. If we add up all the numbers on top with the calculator, we should get 77. So you have 77 over 10, which is 77 divided by 10. Remember, to divide a number by 10, you just move the decimal point one place to the left. So 77 divided by 10 is 7.7. So we get a mean or an average of 7.7. Example 6 is we're finding the median. So we have to line the numbers up from least to greatest. So we have a 3, a 4, we have 2 5s, a 7, an 8, we have 2 9s, a 12, and a 15, and we want to make sure that we wrote 10 numbers down here so we didn't miss any numbers. And if we count these up, we do have 10 numbers. And now you may be noticing that because we have an even number of terms, we have 2 middle numbers. So 7 and 8 are both the middle numbers of our data. So when this happens, we have to find the average of those two middle numbers or the middle of those two middle numbers, whichever way you guys want to think about it. So I'm going to do it by finding the average or the mean. So we're going to find the average of 7 and 8. And we're going to use the rule from number 5. So the average is equal to the sum, so 7 plus 8, divided by the number of terms. We're finding the average of 2 terms. 7 plus 8 is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So we get a median of 7.5. You could also think about this as the middle of 7 and 8. So 7.5 is right in the middle of 7 and 8. So either way you think about it, we get 7.5 as our median. Moving on to 7, we're finding the mode, which is the term or the terms that appear the most. And if you look at our data set, this time we're going to have 2 modes. So 5 appears twice and 9 appears twice. So we get modes of 5 and 9. So remember that you can have more than one mode, or sometimes you have no modes if all the numbers show up the same number of times. And finally, looking at example 8, the range, which is the highest term minus the lowest term. So our highest term is 15. Our lowest term is 3. 15 minus 3 gives us a range of 12. So hopefully this video helped you guys understand mean, median, mode, and range a little bit more. If you want more practice with problems like this, check out the link in our description for a free practice worksheet.